Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, and today we're going to be going through another report of my social media metrics and earnings on social media platforms, specifically that have crypto monetization or are integrated with the blockchain to some degree. There's some new platforms that we're going to be looking at today and adding into the mix. They're not, huge earners currently, but I'm sure you guys will be excited to see next month's earnings from these platforms. So do stay tuned. This is going to be some great stuff, some new stuff for you to check out and start using. I put an insane amount of work into these reports, so I would greatly appreciate a like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're going to dive into all that after a quick word from my sponsor.
A big thank you and shout out to my sponsor, Cake Wallet, which is an open source, non-custodial Bitcoin and Monero wallet that also has a built-in exchange. It's available on iOS and Android.
Thanks again to my sponsor. Now let's dive in. So just before I go through this month's, I just wanted to share with you guys what the actual tracking side of things looks like. It is very extensive. I have all these spreadsheets and I've been tracking data on some of these platforms for years. Mine's you can see all the way back to April of 2018. So for some of these platforms, I've been tracking them for quite literally years. All this data, a lot of it is tracked sadly manually because a lot of these platforms don't have analytics. But I just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea and show you how much work actually goes into generating these reports and how much work I actually have to put into just tracking all of this information. A lot of people think I'm over exaggerating when I talk about using 40, 50 platforms. As you can see here, there's probably more than 40 or 50 here that I'm tracking, but some of them I've stopped tracking because they've been discontinued or they're working on stuff and I'm just not really following along. But as you can see, there is an insane amount of platforms that I'm actually actively keeping up with and tracking my numbers for. So this is just to kind of give you a little bit of that behind the scenes look. And then this is for my actual earnings on these platforms. So, guys, I'm really trying to do this as accurate as possible and give you the best information that I can possibly do. And I'm not sure if I've shown this or how often I've shown this. So I did want to just give that little brief look into the back end, so to speak, and that I'm really doing on a ridiculous amount of work to get you guys the most accurate numbers, because I'm not just throwing things out here. I want this to be as accurate as possible to give you the best insight so that you can make the best decisions going forward. So in terms of my overall social media metrics on these platforms, I'm up a reasonable amount, fairly consistent with what I've been doing previously. I would just say impressions are a little on the low end, but aside from that, everything is moving at a pretty good pace. So that's really good to see. In terms of individual platforms, YouTube is still pulling back for subscribers because ever since I got that false community strike, I've just seen a consistent downtrend. And recently, some people were reaching out to me saying that they found out that they were unsubscribed to my channel without them doing anything. And they were very concerned about that. And that really just plays into this whole narrative of, YouTube suppressing creators. And especially once they get a community strike or something like that, and you're less monetizable, they're not going to recommend you the same. And it's not about money because YouTube is one of my lowest earners. It's more so just about the ability to get awareness through the algorithm. And that's one of the consistent ones that's declining, sadly, but nothing out of the ordinary or that I wasn't expecting. And that's why we're doing all this, to give you options outside of YouTube and so that you're not reliant on YouTube. More importantly, so that you can start earning right off the bat. Mine's is tracking along sort of slowly. As I've continued to say, I'm not super focused on Mine's these days because they've made it very challenging to get your money out. PublishOX has been tracking along well. Hive has been fantastic. Twitter has been, performing decently. Read.cash is great. Noise.cash is great. These are still kind of the up-and-comers, I would say. Not super decentralized, but definitely growing very, very fast. LBRY and Hive are always at the top of the list for blockchain integration, decentralization, censorship resistance, all that good stuff. LBRY and Hive, always at the top. LBRY, though, my subscribers have very much slowed down. So that's kind of unfortunate to see, but it is what it is. I'm sure less people are coming in waves and then subscribing to everyone. And I haven't really been pushing my channel as much, or supporting it rather. And I've just been focused on the individual videos. I've also posted a little bit less recently because I did have like a week off where I visited my family. So, you know, this could be a little bit of a slower month, but LBRY has significantly slowed down my growth for subscribers. And I've noticed that for all creators on LBRY, if you go and look at LBRYnomics, you can see that everyone is gaining significantly less than they were before. And I'm not entirely sure what that is. I mean, it could be the SEC case, it could be a lot of different things, so I'm not going to speculate. But, you know, that's just something to keep in mind. While video views and engagements are steadily increasing and fairly consistent, a lot less growth for subscribers. And maybe this is just a universal thing. It could just be related to the market, as I speculated before, that maybe it's just that since the market has gone so much down, people are not looking for these types of videos as much as they used to. But we'll see as things start to go back up. And they are going back up, so that's really great. BitLink, I continue to get a ridiculous amount of views on, so that's fantastic. Torum is also growing very, very quickly. But before I get really gung-ho on Torum, I want to see the ability to actually trade and withdraw and get all your funds and actually monetize. And once we see that, Torum is just going to be huge. I'm going to do a guide on it, all this great stuff. I'm going to be doing a guide on several platforms in the near future. I recently did Brave, and now in my list or whatever of next topics, I've got Cost.tv, Torum, Pocket.net, and Yup to do guides for them. I've sort of done guides for all the other platforms at one point or another, but I guess after I've done all the new stuff, I'll go back and do a more comprehensive look through the previous platforms that I have reviewed / done guides for, and just do a more updated version for you guys who don't want to go back, you know, years into old episodes, etc. Much better quality now, so understandable. And I will do that fairly soon. I'm trying to do more guides and tutorials and get a little further away from my interviews and such. Still very much open to doing them, but my main focus going forward is going to be on tutorials, platform guides, all that kind of stuff. Kind of back to the roots of what I was originally doing. And yeah, Cost.tv has been growing pretty well. Rockfin has grown exponentially for my followers because they opened up a crypto section. So definitely go and check that out. There's still very few creators in the crypto section. So clearly you can get a lot of followers from people who are checking that stuff out. And if you're actually uploading there, I haven't seen the same correlation for like engagement, views, all that. But, you know, if that does start to tick up a lot and a lot more people are watching my videos and everything is well on Rockfin, then I will start tracking that more closely as well. And yeah, that's the kind of breakdown of the majority of the major social platforms I'm using. Obviously, I'm using ridiculously more than just this, but this is kind of the main updates, so to speak, with the most significant changes, because a lot of them are very, very small changes. You know, 10 followers here, 10 engagements there. It's not really worth including here, and having like 20 pages of this stuff makes my life a lot easier to just do it like this. But yeah, I will talk about the other platforms that I want to introduce to you guys in the earnings section, which I'll basically just jump to now because we haven't really had any new interviews or anything like that in the last little while. I've worked with a few more companies, but that's about it. Now, for my July total earnings, which I know this is what you guys love the most, I earned a reasonable amount. But what I want to point to the most is Originally, when I clocked this in August 1st, it was $653.04 Canadian. Today, just for fun, I checked what all the values were now today as of recording this, which is the 25th. So this is pretty late in the month, to be fair. But over the course of the last 25 days, that $653.04 has risen over $800 in value. So the importance here that I'm trying to illustrate is you could earn X amount from Crypto Social, and in a very short period of time, that could go up about 20% in value. And that's what that change is, by the way. That's 20% increase in appreciation in 25 days. So imagine what that could look like over a long period of time. How much appreciation can you get off of these earnings? That's the beauty of crypto and earning in crypto. Because not only are you going to earn the crypto, but a lot of times just waiting over the long term and letting it appreciate, you're going to see a massive increase in value for the cryptocurrency that you're bringing in. And I should be doing this more often, where I kind of like show the difference between when I recorded it and when I originally, well, I guess when I recorded the information, then when I recorded the video. But I'll try to do that in the future just to illustrate more for you guys how big of a change that can be. Imagine getting paid, waiting an extra month, and then your pay being 20% higher than what it was. Imagine just waiting an extra month for all of your paychecks. You could get 20% more money if you were just able to defer everything a month out. And that's just, an example. Obviously, crypto can go down too, and that's the other bad side of it. But a lot of times over the long term, I've seen my earnings going up and up and up and up. So, take it as you will. None of this is financial advice, but it's amazing what you can do by just holding for the long term, and being able to earn cryptocurrency really shows you how powerful this can be. So let's actually dive into the individual platforms here. We've got PublishOX, where I earned just like $1.10 less than last month, which isn't too bad. Again, I have to stress, PublishOX is so consistent. So whatever you're earning, generally you will earn the same amount pretty regularly. And that is really nice that you can kind of count on that. Unless it's low, then you can count on it being fairly low. But, $40 is nothing to scoff at. As these cryptocurrencies increase in value as well, that could be very, very beneficial. For Brave browser, I earned, $6, but Brave has already gone up over $1 from when I recorded this. So again, lots and lots of appreciation is out there to be had. LBRY, 2,458 LBC. It was 3.6 cents when I originally recorded this. And today, as of recording, it's like 5.6 cents. So again, massive increases in value. Really, really nice to see. Hive, I earned 277 Hive at 51 cents, $142. I'm also tracking my HBD, my Hive backed dollars, separately, because before I just tracked it all as Hive and I did the conversions and everything, and it was kind of a hassle. And now I'm earning a lot more HBD, and I'm putting it into my savings on Hive now that you can earn 10% interest, high interest savings on your HBD, which is really, really good. And I will be tracking that along for my amateur investing stuff, getting a little bit more into passive income again. And that came to $250 in total, which is actually the lion's share of my earnings. So that's really, really great to see. Hive is a powerhouse, and really, really great to see. LeoFinance is a community on Hive, and I earned $19 there. Coast.tv, $11.95. Read.cash, $90. Noise.cash, $31. These are pretty consistent as well. Bitcoin Cash has gone from 688 to 812. So again, lots and lots of increases here. These are worth a lot more, so that's really, really awesome. I think this almost has tripled in value for COS. So again, just a lot of increases in value. Interestingly, DEN MTR has gone down in value. So that's kind of unfortunate to see. But theirs is $19.94. So, still reasonably good earnings there. And, I always just put it back into just keeping it there so that I can earn passively from my MTR as well. My concern that MTR isn't going up, or my reasoning or assumptions behind that, is that there's some finicky stuff about the way that you can earn and the way things happen on the platform, because every day they give out 10,000 MTR. But if people just have voting rings and stuff, they can just concentrate all the MTR being printed every day to go to those specific people who they're voting for. And that's something that you can see on a lot of platforms. But it seems the most prominent on DEN because of what you can do with the allocations of your MTR and how much influence you get, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that is something to consider. Since I started, it went up to like $1.50, and now it's like 5x in the negative. So that is pretty significant to keep in mind. But again, I do recommend using it. There's just this one caveat with DEN, DTube, and any other platform that charges you some sort of ETH related fee to get your crypto out, which would be the issue with like Mines, etc. But Mines is kind of a different case there. But with DTube and DEN Social, you have to spend an insane amount of Ethereum for gas fees. Oh, actually with Yup as well. That was the other one I was forgetting. So like recently this month in August, I earned an insane amount from Yup, like $400 on Yup, which is just insane. But it costs like $160 to withdraw my Yup currently. So you've got to consider that there's certain platforms that are completely reliant on the Ethereum transaction fees right now. Crossing my fingers that Q1 of 2022, we're going to see sharding come out for Ethereum, and that's going to solve basically everything. And then all these platforms with these big restrictions on withdrawals and making you spend an insane amount of money. Because again, if I'm spending $160 to get out, $300 on Yup, then I'm assuming the average person who's earning significantly less than I am will never make money on that model. Same with like a lot of these other platforms like DEN and DTube, that you'll never make enough money to even cover the fee to get your money. And no one's going to make like $100 and then spend $99 to get $1. That would just be so irritating and discouraging, So these other platforms don't really have that issue. PublishOX kind of, it's more just restricted on the timing of withdrawals, etc. And there is a minimum withdrawal, but they don't really charge you very much. I think it's like if you use KuCoin directly, they'll give you a discount. Otherwise, it's like maybe $5 or something, which could still be a lot for some people, but it's nothing compared to the insane fees on DTube, DEN, and Yup. Again, that is really just based on the Ethereum gas fees. So I'm really hoping that we see massive improvements in the near future. And if we do, then a lot of these things will be alleviated and we won't have any issues there. But it's important to keep that in mind, especially if you're unaware and then you go and you sign up on these platforms and you work really hard for a long time and then you try to get your money out only to realize that you'll get like $1 out of your $50 or $100 of earnings. So people don't want to do that. Completely understandable. These other platforms though, totally good to go. You can get your money out either very, very low or zero fees. No worries there. Going back to where we were, I was talking about DTube here. I earned about $44.55. So that's really nice to see. It's now over $1, so another one that has gained quite a bit. Pcoin, I earned $1.65. However, I'm not sure if this is accurate or like what happened the last time I checked, but when I checked, it did say $16 and today it says $2. So I'm really not sure what happened there. Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show that sometimes you can have platforms go down significantly in value. And I think that's a lowercase n, so I just fixed that. But yeah, sometimes you can have platforms go down in value, like Den Social, like PocketNet, but it's not necessarily, correlated to how the platform is doing necessarily. I mean, you could make speculations and stuff, but if you're able to earn a reasonable amount on any platform, you should use that platform and take advantage of that money. Because otherwise, if you're creating the content anyways, you're basically giving up free money because you're like, oh, I can't be bothered to share on this platform or whatever. Plus, you'll reach a new audience, you'll reach more people. If you're a content creator, part of it should be about like reaching your audience and providing value to people. And you can provide value to much more people by using more platforms and distributing more. I fully understand that you don't want to make the distribution side of content creation feel like work and make yourself hate that process. But whatever you can do to add more to that process is going to be better for everyone else and for you for monetization, censorship, etc. And that's why I do these videos, to show you guys everything that's going on. Yup has got me like $9, so it's not crazy. But as I said, this month I've earned over $400 on Yup. And while there's insane fees to withdraw right now, I'm sure a lot of that will be alleviated in the very, very near future. Blurt, I kind of included as a favor, I would say, because 52 cents is not really worth including. But going forward, I have one follower who's very gung-ho on Blurt. And, I'm on there, obviously, and I've been on there for a while, and I've been on a lot of different platforms for a while. And I don't see the same results even remotely. But when I have dedicated followers who, I trust, and I don't think they're lying or anything, and they're reporting that they're earning, pretty good sums of money, I'm going to take that at face value, and I'm going to prioritize those platforms a little more and spend a little bit more time. Not going to assume that I know everything for every platform. So I'm going to be putting a little bit more effort on Blurt, earning there passively from delegating, and just taking a little bit more seriously. They've enabled you to finally add images, you could always technically, but they've made it easy to do now. So I've not had any issues with my uploads. I was previously having a lot of issues. Now I haven't had those issues, so that should be good. So hopefully next month I report, the earnings will be notably higher. Plus I will be reporting in my amateur investing how much I earn passively from Blurt. But, as of right now, obviously it's not very significant at all. It's almost low enough that I wouldn't even bother including it in this report, because anything under $1 seems kind of like a waste of your time. But again, I trust that being the case, and I'm going to put a little bit more effort and track that. If I don't see any results in the next 3 months, I will strike it from the reports going forward. And same for anything else on here, right? Because Pcoin has gone down significantly as I checked today. So this is more like, instead of $1.65, it's more like 20 cents or 10 cents or something like that. So significantly different. But I could be earning way more Pcoin in the next little while. Plus they're going through all these updates, etc. Making like a new platform called Bastion. Lots and lots of stuff is going on. But again, I really just want to stress that the appreciation since originally doing this has been I went from 653 to over 800. It was a 20% increase. Absolutely phenomenal. I earned $40 from YouTube, but honestly, that's going down steadily ever since I got my false community strike. Now, This is all the same information. This is just kind of a better visualization to show you the actual breakup here. You can see Hive actually made up a massive portion of my earnings, basically 41%. So that is very significant. Basically, if you're only looking to use a few platforms, read.cash, LBRY, Hive will cover most of what you would earn otherwise. These cover the majority, and then all these other ones, all these little small platforms, all kind of add up to make the rest. Sorry, there's like a fly out. And I really think that these are going to make a big difference going forward. Again, as I mentioned, with appreciation, these platforms are getting more users, and yeah. So just and as you get yourself more situated on these platforms, it's obviously going to help you connect with more people, network, earn more, all that good stuff. And then lastly, this is just a visualization of how I've earned month over month since I officially started tracking my earnings in March 2020. And I had done tracking before, but it wasn't consistently month to month. Technically, I started some point in 2019, but it was loose, random reports. And then I started to dedicate to every single month in March 2020. But you can see when crypto started to just go crazy in value, my earnings were kind of aligned with that. And now that it's kind of pulled back, my earnings have kind of aligned with that. But unfortunately, recently, as it started to go up, I haven't really seen my earnings go up a lot yet. Although I did mention in the last 25 days, my earnings have gone up 20%. So you could say technically they have, but not from when I actually earned them. So I would assume in the next report, given we don't see some crazy stuff happen in the markets, I should see a pretty notable increase in earnings. And, hopefully that is the case. But that's why I do all these videos, so we can find trends and just have the most insight possible to which platforms you should be spending your time on. I hope this has been a good overview of everything. We've got some new platforms in the mix like PocketNet, Yup, and Blurt. So, hopefully you guys are going to check those out. Let me know how you feel about them, how you feel about their earnings, the social platform in general. I would love to hear your feedback on that. And let me know, where are you spending your time on social? Where are you earning the most? Is there any platforms that maybe I haven't heard of or checked out yet? Always looking for new platforms to test out, and I would always love to hear recommendations from you guys. Let me know in the comments below. And since you watched to the very end, I would really appreciate it if you let me know by commenting hashtag #1ham in the comments below. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, signing off. Cheers.